I think the talk was Pochettino, since he's available. I think the talk was that they wanted him quite a few years ago when he was his first leaving Spurs, I believe. So I guess that would be something from that standpoint that is exciting to them. Obviously, we've heard discussions about Southgate and so many people being turned off by that idea for different reasons according to their perspective. But I think the fact that Pochettino's available, I'd imagine quite a few of them would be very keen to bring him to the north rather.
Yeah, it's like a no-brainer, isn't it, Frank? You look at that list, Pochettino, of course, Premier League experience. McKenna, I understand his link with Manchester United. Tuchel just coming off what happened at Bayern. Poch just seems like a layup.
Yeah, and I think it should be the right decision for Manchester United, because he proved again with Spurs how he can handle. He proved with Chelsea. We can say that it wasn't a great season, but he ended up finishing sixth and being qualified for the Europa League, where nobody expected it. And with a more experienced team, I think he can achieve something. He knows how psychologically work with experienced players, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be up for the job and do better than anybody else. I have question marks about Tuchel. I mean, we saw how unstable he made the Bayern Munich dressing room with some experienced players, like Kimmich, for example, like Müller. I don't know how it's going to work with Casemiro as well, with maybe Fernandes, Maguire. So I think Pochettino can be closer to the players, more attentive to them. So I think it can be the right choice.
Kieran McKenna's an interesting one.
Yeah, so he's obviously got two back-to-back promotions with Ipswich. He's got links with Manchester United.
He's been linked with Chelsea as well. He's in a very dangerous situation here. I don't think he's ready for either of those.
Right, Brighton is another one he's been linked to.
Listen, that's still a tough act to follow, Potter and De Zerbi, and they'll sell players. Yeah, they've recruited well, but they'll sell. Look, he's back-to-back promotions. He was at United before, along with Solskjaer, So he was involved in the tactics before, because we know Solskjaer really wasn't. And getting players at Ipswich to listen to your methods, and his methods apparently are a little different, and he does things in training a little bit thinking outside the box, and that's fine. And Ipswich players have taken that on board. But going to a big club with some of these so-called superstars and asking them to do the same thing, that's difficult. So I think he's in a difficult position if he jumps at one of these jobs, because his stock is really high. If he goes at Premier League with Ipswich, they get relegated.
He'll go to Bayern.
So what? He'll go to Bayern. But, I personally don't think...
That would be a real gamble, wouldn't it?
I don't think he's ready for
a real gamble.
Who would you have, Stevie, from that list?
I would have Pochettino.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think twice about it, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Manchester United are actually in a real mess. And so do you go for McKenna and you don't know what you're getting, or do you go with... And to say a safe pair of hands is disrespecting Pochettino, to be honest. Or do you go with a guy who you know has ability, who knows his way around the team, he knows his way around players, he understands how big a job this is? Anybody else, particularly on that list, seems like a gamble.
Yeah. Kieran?
Does he want the job?
Sorry. Why wouldn't he want it?
I would imagine
I think he'd want it.
Well, maybe if you've had a long time out of football, and you think, I need to get back in. But how many shambles does he want to walk in and out of? I mean, PSG was a bit of a mess. It was a circus. And it didn't go too well from there. He's gone in at Chelsea. He saw the big picture at Chelsea. He had plenty of time to think about it. But he's gone in there. It's probably worse than he thought. And now he's left there, whatever way you want to call it, sacked or mutual consent.
Craig.
Well, he goes to Man United. Yes, they have this 1.25 billion Ineos investment, and they're going to fix the roof, and they're going to fix the training ground, and they're going to bring Dan Ashworth in and all this. But is Pochettino ready to walk into another mess and really, really, really put his stock back on the line again? That's a difficult one.
Go on, Frank.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you are Pochettino and the standard of Pochettino, you're not going to find a club where everything works perfectly when the coach leaves to leave you the space. You're always going to go for a club who has problems. It's why they sacked the former coach, and you're going to step up, and you're going to face problem. That's the thing. That's your life. And everybody's facing that. I'm sure Ancelotti, when he came to Real Madrid or before when he came to PSG, it wasn't a clean way. He had to sort every problems out, and that's going to happen to Poch Pochettino every time he goes somewhere else. And that's what it is for PSG, Chelsea, and maybe for Manchester United.
Maybe he's looking for the sort of Guardiola, Klopp, the Ancelotti scenario has gone away, but that sort of scenario where a manager's not been fired, but is walking away for whatever reasons. And you know, Arne Slot's going into Liverpool, right? It's a big job to fill those shoes, and he's going to have to do a lot of work because the size of the club.
Got a foundation.
There is at least a big foundation to work with, as there will be at City, as there would have been at Real Madrid. That's the difference here.
Other than Bayern Munich, where else is Poch going to go? Is he going to go to like an Aston Villa type club?
Right.
I mean, why would you go to an Aston Villa type? Because he can go there any time he wants. But Man United might not ever come up again. And I don't think his reputation has particularly changed, because the PSG, every man and his dog who's been in there has had the same problem. And I don't think there's anybody pointing the finger at Pochettino. It's all pointing at people up the stairs, Bowley and Winstanley and Stewart. So I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is a no-brainer for him as well as Man United.
I don't mean just that, but I mean the fact that he's had to fight so many fires at this Chelsea that he's gone in there and, I mean, Erik Ten Hag's not a bad coach. He's not been able to get a grasp of it in his second year. He's not a bad coach, but even he, having his experience of Ajax in Champions League semi-finals, has toiled with this lot. And that's what I mean. Does he want to go back in and risk everything and toil away with basically 50% of them a bunch of wasters? Yeah. And then you've got people on long contracts who are coming towards the end of their career, like Casemiro. You've got Varane who's leaving. You've got a bunch of players who have been injury-prone. You've got Marcus Rashford on huge wages, who basically hasn't done anything this year. And then that was a great line from Erik Ten Hag in the press, wasn't it? Marcus is going to use a mission from the England squad to fuel himself,
to motivate
himself. And I'm thought, man, you should have told him he was out of the England squad in January or October, because I don't see anything that's fueling this guy at the moment.
Kieran, last word on this. Who would you have from that list?
Is there a reason why we haven't mentioned De Zerbi? Or
no, most definitely De Zerbi's in the conversation, isn't he?
I think he's done an amazing job at Brighton. I always hear good reports about him. I know a few of the players there, and they have nothing but good words to say about him and his honesty and how he deals with the players. I feel like United is kind of like the next step for him. And I like Poch as well, but I would also consider De Zerbi.